What's good, YouTube? It's your boy Nehemiah, aka Neo, and today we're going to be talking about another really decent team that's going into the next year, and that's the Detroit Pistons. This team does have a lot going for it in terms of them being a younger team. They have a lot of younger guys, of course, that honestly could be of use in this next year. They could even make the playoffs, maybe. Uh, Even though they do have a guy like Killian Hayes who may not be the best going forward, I still think that they have really good pieces to match Cade Cunningham. And I think overall, this team could be maybe even a playoff team. But let's get into it. First off, we have to talk about Cade Cunningham. Even though he didn't really have the best rookie season at the very start, I still think that he probably is going to be the best rookie of the class. Uh, Either that or Mobley, depending on how good Mobley shapes up to be. But again, it really depends on how good Cade Cunningham shooting is going to be. I'm pretty sure after the first couple of games, he really just took off. So from the 39th game to this one, yeah, he essentially just did a lot better from the first couple of games from his 30th game, and he probably ended off really well from the field. So that's really great to see from Cade. Now for the people on the court, he has Jaden Ivey, again a lottery pick. I'm pretty sure he was the fifth overall pick if I'm not mistaken. And Jaden Ivey, I think he's probably the best fit around him for the next guard position. Killian Hayes, of course, I already talked about him, but I don't think he's really the best fit for Cade Cunningham long term, especially because Killian Hayes is essentially just a Lonzo Ball type of player from his rookie season, but he still hasn't improved his shooting. So it's really concerning on that end. And I do think that Killian Hayes does have a place on the roster. It's just that this is a really stacked roster for a young team. They also have Nerlens Noel, who I think is a really solid five centerpiece. So I think that if you really wanted to go really crazy, I think that they could go with Nerlens Noel. However, I think it's more likely that they go with a guy like Marvin Bagley or Jalen Duren. They're probably going to go with Jalen Duren at the five, which is really good because, again, Jalen Duren, he's another really good draft pick that they had. Really good pick and roll partner, really good offensive big. Hopefully, he could be a lob threat. And I think he's probably going to be the new center for this team, especially because Isaiah Stewart did not take the next leap that we thought he would, which is it is what it is. Not a lot of second year players are going to be as good as we anticipate. But Isaiah Stewart still does belong on this team. He's a really good backup five. And even though he did start pretty much every game, I do think that he's probably going to start a little bit less, especially with a lot of the new additions. Marvin Bagley, uh, again, Jalen Duren, and Nerlens Noel. So there's that. With Marvin Bagley, though, I think he's a really interesting case for this team. I think that in the last couple of games where he played with this team, I think that he actually played not only really well, but I think that was probably the best Marvin Bagley that we'll get, at least from the first 5 seasons that he's played. And I'm going to think that next year he may even take a really big leap, depending on how good the team around him is, and if he's actually getting consistent minutes. Again, ever since his rookie year, he hasn't gotten more than 27 minutes, and he actually played more than 27 minutes until or when he got to Detroit. Now, to say that he's gonna be this all star, I don't think it's realistic at this point. Mostly because we haven't really seen him take the next leap yet. That and his free throw percentage went way down last year. So that's really concerning. But again, I think that he could be a really solid piece. And it could maybe be like a short term thing that Detroit could get from a player like him, even though they could probably just use him really well. We have Sadiq Bey. Sadiq Bey is honestly, he's all right. That's all I can really talk about. He's just an all right player. Nothing else to really talk about. But As for this team just being a overall playoff team, I still really like it. Not saying that they're going to be a playoff team, but they do have the solid young core. They have pretty much everything that they really need going forward. And I think that they could really just improve their offense going into next year with a guy like Jalen Duran, Jaden Ivey, all those guys just being very active on the offensive end, especially the center. So I really want to see what Cade Cunningham does because this is going to be Cade Cunningham's really big season, mostly because one, he has a now he has a year of experience on his belt, and two, he has a lot more better partners matching up with him. Now that he has better partners, it really makes sense that he's going to just have better stats overall, not only in the shooting department but the passing department too. They're 24th in assists. I'm expecting that to go up. They were around 29th in terms of field goal percentage. Excuse me. I expect that to go up. And overall, I think that they're going to increase their points per game by a lot, especially with a guy that, or especially with a center that's really aggressive. So I hope that this team could finish really well in the standings because, again, I really like younger teams actually being very well in the playoffs. However, I do think that this team is still just one draft pick away from really making noise. Looking at the roster, it's still kind of empty at a certain point. After Corey Joseph, Jalen Duran, Marvin Bagley, uh, Jaden Ivey, Killing, even Killian Hayes, not really the best. Cade Cunningham, Kelly Olynyk, who's actually been a solid player. Isaiah Stewart and Sadiq Bey. That's 8 guys that you already have to play in the rotation, and I don't think that anyone else up here is worth note. Kemba Walker, his best days are past him now. Isaiah Liver, I'm not sure how good he was last year, but I'm pretty sure he didn't really get the most votes. Yeah, he didn't get the most rotation minutes, but he's a solid player. Actually, he shoots 40% from three on very low volume, which is still solid for a team like this. Again, he's only 23, so Saban Lee, again, another French rotation player. But they also have Nerlens Noel again, who I think is probably going to be the backup center this year. If not, maybe the backup four. But yeah, I think that's just for the Detroit Pistons because there's not really much to talk about with them. Anyways, that's been me. I support Nehemiah, aka Neil, and I hope you guys having a good one.